All right, welcome everyone to this webinar. I think it's going to be a very exciting webinar because today we're going to try to figure out what is the best way to make money? What is the best way for each and every one of us to make money with AI? Because I think everyone today understands that AI is an extremely powerful technology. It's a platform, it's a artificial intelligence, is an entity that can reason, that knows like 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times what we know, and it's probably soon going to become a kind of AGI, artificial general intelligence. So it's going to continue to develop almost like exponentially, and not only that, but it's going to become super smart and it can be replicated instantly on any computer, and therefore, intelligence is not going to be a constraint anymore. So it doesn't matter what your IQ or what your education is, you're going to be about the same as everybody else. And so intelligence or intellect or knowledge are no longer going to be what is stopping you from having a dream life. So the question is, if everyone has access to the same large language model, whether it's OpenAI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Manus, Gemini, so everyone is equal, right? AI has become a commodity. Then the question is, what is the best way for you to make money? So you have to ask yourself that question. You almost have to be obsessed about that question. How can I make money with AI? That's the central question. But you have to go deeper. You have to say, how can I, with my particular experience, with my particular knowledge, with my particular assets, resources, etc., how can I, with all of these characteristics, make money with AI? In other words, you've got to have self-knowledge. You have to have self-knowledge because, as Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese strategist, wrote centuries ago, if you have self-knowledge, then you've won half the battle. The other half of the battle is that you've got to understand the battlefield, the market where you're competing. But I think that today, a lot of people are trying to understand AI. They are joining Facebook groups. They're learning prompt engineering. They're learning all the different language models, and that's fine. But I feel that most people don't really have self-knowledge. They don't really understand who they are and what drives them. And so they will go on YouTube and they will be distracted by the latest AI so-called guru that's going to talk to them about AI automation. It's going to talk about this prompt or that prompt. They're going to talk about this particular language model, that particular language model, but they don't really truly know who they are. And so, in my opinion, and I'm going to use myself as a case study, you really have to know yourself. Who are you? What has been your experience, not just at work, but your experience in life? Your knowledge, your assets, your resources, your career, your skills, your talent, all of that has to be explicitly articulated so that you know yourself. And in many ways, it's like all of these components and traits of yourself, it's like as if they were chess pieces. And so you have to understand what chess pieces you have, and you have to deploy those chess pieces in order to win. As any chess player knows, you can have many chess pieces, but if you don't know how to use them in a coordinated manner, you're not going to win the game of chess, right? So how do you use your chess pieces? In other words, your experiences, your knowledge, your education, your resources, your connections, your skills, your talents, your interests, even your personality. And there's something in psychology called the Big Five traits, and it's summarized by the acronym OCEAN. So you can look it up on Google. OCEAN is a framework that helps you to determine your psychological profile. And once you know your OCEAN profile, you will understand your personality. Also, like, what have been key events in your life? What kind of family do you have? What kind of friends do you have? Education. So you have to really know yourself, because there is no one best way to make money. There's a way for each and every one of us. So that's what I mean by the best way. My best way to make money with AI is not going to be the same as your best way. Like, you might be more extroverted, you might be better than me at computer programming, which is not difficult because I'm not really good at computer programming, but you might be a better salesperson, you might be more sociable, you might be more charming, you might be better at public speaking. So your best way is going to be really different from my best way. So it's very different than, an object like a car. There is one best car. It could be Tesla, it could be another car brand. But when it comes to making money, you are involved, right? It's not a product. And so you have to really understand yourself, and that's what self-knowledge is all about. You have to know yourself. So please review this video. You can watch it several times with your friends, but you really have to understand yourself before you can discover the best way for you to make money with AI. So here I'm going to amend the title, and I'm going to write something like, what is the best way for you to make money with AI? And this is something that you have to discover. I'm going to be here to help you as much as possible, but the best way for you to make money with AI depends on the degree to which you have self-knowledge. So now I'm going to provide an example, because it's always better to provide examples so that you understand exactly what I mean. Like, it's only recently that I began to develop self-knowledge about myself. I used to think that I can use Base44 to develop tons of web applications, and I can even create an artificial business intelligence based on the idea of a chess engine. And all of these ideas are still good. I'm still going to implement that. But recently, I was watching a YouTube video by Charlie Munger, who died when he was 99 years old, and he is the business partner of Warren Buffett, and together they ran the highly successful Berkshire Hathaway investment firm. And together with Warren Buffett, Charlie has made so many people millionaires. And so let me ask you, if you had the opportunity to learn from Charlie, who's not only a great investor, but who was super smart, or you can learn from the YouTubers out there, which one would you listen to? The 20-year-old YouTuber who discovered AI and AI automation, and he's very energetic, very charming. He has a YouTube channel, over 1 million people or whatever. Or you're going to listen to Charlie Munger, who has proven in his near century long lifetime that he's been reliable time and time again. Like, who are you going to listen to? I guarantee you that if you watch a YouTube video by Charlie Munger, you're going to learn so much in 20 minutes, more than you can learn from watching thousands of videos by YouTubers who are just exciting, who are just, dynamic, very seductive, but they haven't proven that their advice is good. They haven't created millionaires the way that Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett have created. Like, even people, let's say like Natalie Dawson or Leila Hormozi, they have very good production value when it comes to their videos, and they have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But you have to look at the actual content. How many millionaires has Natalie produced? Like, she's the wife of Brandon Dawson, who I think he's the real mastermind. Or Leila, who's the wife of Alex Hormozi, he's the real deal. And I'm not dismissing these two ladies. I'm nothing against women. It could be men as well, Gary Vaynerchuk or Grant Cardone. But the question to ask when you're learning on YouTube is, what is their track record. Like, how many millionaires have they produced? And obviously, in the case of these two ladies, they haven't not produced any millionaires, because if they did, they would have mentioned it, right? But Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, these guys have produced, hundreds of millionaires. So you got to listen to them. You got to listen also to guys like, Jensen Huang, who, talks a lot about the importance for young people to seek hardship. You have to find the hard problem. Same thing with Peter Thiel, another billionaire. So my goal is to become a billionaire. So that's why I try to learn from billionaires. I don't want to learn from these people who have not achieved billionaire status. So anyways, you have to be careful whom you're going to learn from. And recently, like I said, I learned from Charlie Munger. And here's what I learned from Charlie, which was a major insight, because it revealed something about myself. So what Charlie said was basically, let me just erase this. He said a phrase that really stood out to me, and he said, don't interrupt the compounding. So think about that for a few seconds. Don't interrupt the compounding. What Charlie meant, and he was referring to many of his multimillionaire friends who, they bought a stock that was performing, and something happens in the stock market and the prices go down, and so they panic and they sell off their stock, and so they are interrupting the compounding because they're being emotional. Okay, they're being emotional, and so they sell off a good stock because the price is going down. But what Charlie is saying is that if you did your homework and you picked a good company and you are confident that that company is going to stay the course and it's going to succeed in the long term, then you should not look at the stock price, because the stock price has to do with the popularity. It has to do with the volatility of the marketplace, right? The volatility. And so let's say you bought stock, from a company, and you did the fundamental analysis and it's a good company and you bought it at a good price. In other words, at a very low price, so you have a margin of safety, and you bought that stock for, let's say, $100, and you expect it to grow over time because it's a very good company. It has solid fundamentals, good economics, and so you bought it for $100, and then there's a volatility in the marketplace, geopolitics, whatever, and the stock goes down to, let's say, $90, and then you watch. Of course, you're very nervous, and then it goes down to $80, and then it goes down to $70. So you start to panic, and so you sell at $70. So you're selling at a loss, right? And this is what Charlie meant when he says that people buy high and they sell low. So you're buying it at $100, but you're selling it at $70. So you're actually losing money. You're losing money because you lost your mind. Okay, you're losing money because you lost your mind. You lost your rationality. You're not thinking clearly. You're being emotionally disturbed by what is going on in the marketplace, the stock market. And so that's what Charlie was saying. And he's not saying that these are smart people. Stupid people. He's saying that he noticed that behavior from people that he knew who were very smart, who made a lot of money, but somehow they were not able to keep that money, because when they see the prices go down, they panic and they are selling off, and therefore they're losing money. And they're stopping the compounding, because if they had stayed with that stock, they would have seen that, a few years later, the stock goes back to 90, and then it becomes 120, it becomes 150. So that's the compounding effect over time. And that's not even mentioning the deferment of taxes, because when you keep your stock, you don't have to pay tax. You're paying tax on capital only when you sell off your shares. So anyways, people could have stayed, and their stock could have gone from 100 to 150, and therefore they would have benefited from the compounding. So that's the phrase that really struck me, when Charlie said, don't interrupt the compounding. In other words, don't sell off a good stock. Of course there are reasons, like, even Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, they sold off, I think, their IBM shares when a few years ago they thought that IBM was going to be doing great. They sold off part of their Apple holdings, even though Warren Buffett was admiring Apple a few years ago. So there are times when you have to sell off, but you sell off when it's rational to sell off. You don't sell off a stock because you're panicking. And when you panic, of course, you're not really using your rational mind. So anyway, sorry for this tangent. If you're not into investing, this might not be relevant. But what is relevant is that Charlie Munger helped me to realize that, am I interrupting the pounding? In other words, am I, and this is an eye-opener for me, am I ignoring my assets where I've invested? And am I chasing new shiny objects, like for example, new large language models, I don't know, like Manus. I haven't used Manus, so I can't really talk intelligently about it, but everyone at one point talked about Manus. Today people talk about AI agents, they talk about MCP, which is a protocol, they talk about N8N, which is also a protocol or a platform for creating AI agents. Now, I'm not saying that, there's no future in AI agents and automation and Manus and even recently Comet by Perplexity. I mean, you should explore, but what I'm saying is that don't forget where your assets are, your experience, your knowledge. Don't forget what makes you you. Because, even though all these tools are very powerful, if you take the time to learn how to use them, they are like new opportunities. But don't forget the assets where you've invested a great deal of your time. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget your own talents, your own strengths. Basically, don't forget how you've actually made money before. Okay, people tend to forget, and they forget because your knowledge, your experience is very intangible. It's not like, you bought a stock, let's say in Tesla or Nvidia. If you've bought a stock or you've bought government bonds or you've bought real estate, you're not going to forget those assets because you actually put money into it, and they're physical, right? They appear in your brokerage account, etc. You don't forget about them. But what's happening with your knowledge, what's happening with your skills, your talents, or achievements that you've made before. In my case, one of my great achievements is that I was able to create 5 college courses. So you tend to forget all of that because they're not visible. Like your talent, your skills, your achievements, they're not really top of mind. You're not thinking about them, so you tend to forget them, and instead you focus on the latest tools out there, the latest language models like Manus, the latest AI agent protocol, MCP, and it appears all over the news, right? So when you go on YouTube, that's what you see, and so you forget about what makes you unique, and that is a central question for making money with AI. So I'm gonna create a new slide and talk about what makes you unique. Okay, let me just erase this. So the central question for, let's say, for finding out the best way for you to make money with AI is what makes you unique, and how can you leverage that uniqueness to make money with AI. This is not a question that you're likely to have encountered in a YouTube video or online, because nobody talks about what makes you unique. Like the gurus out there who are selling their video courses or communities, etc., they don't have time to sit down with you and figure out what makes you unique. They have to serve a whole market, right? So they talk about a tool, they talk about a formula that has worked for them, and they don't really care about your uniqueness. But it's something that you have to care about, because unless you know who you are, you're not going to be able to leverage what makes you unique. In fact, that's the only way people are going to survive in the new AI economy. You have to figure out what makes you unique. So for example, what has been your education, what has been your past achievements, your skills, your talents. You have to write them down, and then you have to leverage all of these characteristics that make up who you are. And that's not easy. Self-introspection is not easy, because people tend not to be transparent, and that's why people like to talk to psychotherapists, right? They like to talk it out. And so one good method is brainstorm with your friends, and you can ask each other, hey, John, what do you think are my talents or my skills? What is it that makes me unique? And you can do the same thing for John. You can say, John, I think that you're a very good copywriter, or you're very good at public speaking, or you're a very good coach, or you're a good listener. So you can get together with your friends. One thing's for sure, whether you do it by yourself or you do it with your friends and family, you cannot discover the best way to make money with AI unless you truly know yourself. Okay? Very important. So let me just take a break. So to go back to what Charlie Munger taught me about not interrupting my compounding, I began to think, okay, Peter, what have you done so far that has been enjoyable and where you made a good deal of money? And in my case, obviously, I was teaching digital marketing courses from 2017 to 2022, and then I quit after I played with ChatGPT and I went all in on AI. And that's good. I've learned quite a bit from AI. And it's been a lot of fun. But then Charlie Munger helped me to realize, okay, Peter, what is unique about you? What are your skills and talents? So obviously, I realized that from 2017 to 2022, for 5 years, I developed 3 college level courses. And even before that, for the English Montreal School Board, I developed 2 courses. One is professional sales for people who want to go into the sales profession, and another one is starting a business. It's a course that helps people to clarify the business idea and write a business plan. So in total, I have like 5 college level courses, and so I'm very good at that. And then I also thought that I've always been a big fan of Canada. I'm a patriot. I am totally in favor of Canada, and partly, I know it sounds strange, but partly I was inspired by Donald Trump when he says, make America great again. But I'm thinking, okay, what about Canada? We're not going to become the 51st state, that's for sure. So what about Canada? Can we make Canada great as usual? Because I believe Canada is great already. So partly Donald Trump inspired me to become more of a patriot and express my views about Canada, this great nation, this great land that gave my family and I a second chance at life when we left Vietnam in 1975 on the very last boat leaving Vietnam on April 30, 1975. So I am a big fan of Canada. So being a Canadian patriot is part of my personality. And all of this led me to create my fellow Canadians, where I'm helping Canadians, but also I'm using my skill and my talent as a course creator and as a teacher. So obviously my fellow Canadians, for me, is a great way to make money. And of course, I'm going to be using artificial intelligence quite a bit, because to create content, to create business plans, to create procedures, to create affiliate programs, to create courses, I'm going to need AI. So you can see that for me, what I discovered is that my fellow Canadians is a great way, or the best way, for me to make money with AI. It's not, about creating a new artificial business intelligence, but it's really continuing to become a good teacher, so I'm going to be a teacher, and I'm going to be a patriot. I'm going to go coast to coast. I might be traveling from one province to the next, or I could be doing everything on Zoom. I'm going to recruit a lot of members, and I'm going to charge them because it's a social venture. It's not a for-profit corporation. We're still going to make a lot of money, but it's a social venture, so I'm just going to charge $30 a year, so I don't have to do much selling and marketing, because $30 to have access to all my courses that I've created in the last 20 years of my life, I think that's pretty good deal, because for 20 years I've created so many workshops and so many courses, so I've put in a lot of hard work, and now 40 million Canadians will be able to benefit from my hard work in the last 20 years, and it will cost them only $30 per year. And also, that's not the end of it. Wait, that's not all. I sound like an infomercial, but people can also become an affiliate, and they can make $10 per member. So Canadians can actually make money from my fellow Canadians. They not only learn, and they will acquire skills through our interactive training, our Zoom sessions, etc., but they can also, generate additional income from my fellow Canadians. So you can see that everything is crystallizing, concentrating into this My Fellow Canadians organization. And so that's my case. But I just wanted to share with you that it took me some time to understand that. It took me some time to understand that AI is here, but AI is not an automated teller machine. It's not, some magical bullet that's going to solve your financial problems. You still have to go inward and ask yourself, what makes me unique? What makes you unique? What has been your life so far? And how can you leverage that uniqueness in order to create a business or a product that will be beneficial for people? And what kind of people do you want to serve? In my case, I want to serve Canadians. I have nothing against other people from other countries. If they want my help, I'm going to be a consultant, a coach. But essentially, I want to focus more on helping Canadians, because Canadians are my tribe, right? I feel connected to Canadians and also to French Canadians in Quebec. 4 million in Quebec speak only French. So I'm going to, translate into French as well. But I resonate with Canadians. I don't resonate that much with people, let's say, from India, except unless they're my students. I don't connect that much to Chinese people in China, or people in Hong Kong, or Singapore, or Germany, or Spain. I haven't traveled that much, by the way. I just went to Paris, France, in Europe, but that's the only country I visited in Europe. I resonate more with Americans, but fundamentally I resonate a great deal with Canadians, because we're sharing the same history, the same culture. Although Canadians don't have the same strong identity as the Americans, we still have an identity. And so at My Fellow Canadians, I began to talk to ChatGPT, and we figured out some values like empowerment, values like collaboration leading to a sense of community, and we have to innovate, and we have to aim for excellence. But throughout the conversation with ChatGPT, a sixth value didn't emerge, which I find super important, at least for me, and it's compassion. So I'm compassionate for people who have to struggle financially, and I'm especially compassionate for Canadians who are suffering and who will be suffering when AI comes, because AI is going to eliminate a lot of jobs and even professions. So when you lose your job because of AI, it's not like you can go to another company and get another job that's similar to the one you had before. You can't, because when you go to other companies, they will have eliminated your job as well, because your profession has been destroyed, right? So I have a lot of compassion for people who are not prepared and who are in a way unconscious. They don't realize that AI is going to eliminate their job, but once they lose their job, they're going to be poor. They're going to be not able to take care of their family. So I have compassion for them. So compassion is one of the 6 values of My Fellow Canadians. We have to be compassionate. We have to help people. And that's why I put the price only at $30 per year. It's a very low price, but 40 million Canadians will have access to all of my courses, my content, my computer files, etc. And so this short webinar is just meant to show you that to make money with AI, to find the best way to make money with AI, you have to understand who you are, because there is no universal best way to make money with AI. You know, it has to be a way that is suitable for you, the way that a pair of gloves will fit your hands. And so you have to know exactly what makes you you. You have to know what, with great clarity, you have to know who you are about, what you're trying to achieve in life. You have to know what your assets and your talents are, and you have to list them. You know, you have to list, like, what are the skills that you have, you know, what are the talents that you have, what are you interested in. You know, if you're not interested in AI and automation, just don't go there. You know, you can use AI to help you, but if you're not interested fundamentally in computer programming, don't force yourself to study computer programming. You're not going to succeed, because the guys and the girls who are really into computer programming, they're going to destroy you, right? So you have to figure out what you're interested in. You have to, you know, figure out what are your assets, your resources. What platforms do you like to use? I like LinkedIn and Facebook, but maybe in your case, you know, you like WhatsApp. I'm not on WhatsApp, but I think you can create groups on WhatsApp. I'm not on Discord. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Instagram. Although I'm willing to explore those platforms, but if those platforms resonate with you, then you have to know that your business should be based on TikTok, WhatsApp, Discord, or Instagram, right? So you have to know yourself. You have to know, like, what kind of magazines are you reading? What kind of newspapers or websites are you reading? You know, they reveal your interest. What are your strengths? You know, what are your qualities? Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? Do you prefer to work alone, or do you prefer to work with groups of people? All of these components of your personality, you know, they're not going to be discovered when you watch a YouTube video. You have to do your homework. You have to discover what makes you you. Why is it that you're unique? You know, one shortcut question could be, what do people rely on you for? What do your friends rely on you for? I know that my friends and family, they rely on me for copywriting. They rely on me for, you know, learning how to create information products, for business, for marketing. So those skills define who I am and what I'm capable of. And it has nothing to do with AI. AI is going to help with my copywriting and business and marketing, but fundamentally, I'm that kind of person. I'm also a teacher, and I'm a career advisor. So that's what my friends and family rely on me for. But, you know, in your case, you've got to answer all these questions, and maybe in a future live stream, or Zoom session, I'm gonna help people to clarify this. But unless you have clarity about who you are, the kind of person who you are, and also the kind of person that you want to become, the dream job that you want to have, unless you clarify all of that internally, you're not going to be able to leverage AI to make money, because, you know, AI is a tool. It's a very smart and powerful tool, but your brain, your uniqueness, your personality is still the biggest ingredient, right? It's what makes you unique. It's what differentiates you from the competition, and therefore it's worth it to take the time to really understand who you are, so that you can create, like I did, you know, you can create an organization that is uniquely suited for you. In my case, my fellow Canadians seems to be perfectly suited for me, because I'm a teacher, I'm a patriot, I've created so many courses already. I like to work from home. I love to live stream, like what I'm doing right now. I have a great deal of joy live streaming. I do it every day. Every time I grab a cup of coffee, it comes naturally to me. I can teach spontaneously, you know, with pleasure, with joy. This is who I am. And so the way that I'm going to be making money with my fellow Canadians flows naturally from who I am. I don't have to twist my arm. Like I used to teach at Taft College, which is a college in Canada, and it was great. But what I didn't like about it is that I have to, go to that college. It takes me an hour to get there. It takes me an hour to go back home. I have to stand up when I'm teaching, and I have to teach according to a certain schedule. I have to teach according to the college regulations, which I did not really fully agree with. And so I had to sacrifice a lot, but with my fellow Canadians, I can teach from home. I can teach anytime, and I charge only $30 per year. I teach people that I really care for, Canadians. And these people, they're paying $30, which is not a lot, but it shows that they're motivated. Because if I give away my fellow Canadians for free, a lot of people join, but they're not going to implement what I teach. So, $30, at least it's going to filter out the people who are absolutely not interested in learning and investing in themselves. They're not willing to pay $30 per year to learn and to grow. So they're not really part of the market that I want to serve. And I'm not judging these people, but if they're not ready to learn and grow and evolve, then my fellow Canadians is not for them. And in the future, who knows? I might increase the price to, let's say, $30 per month, not per year. But right now, I want it to be accessible to everyone because, like I said, I have a great deal of compassion for people who want to learn, but they might not have the budget for training. So that's where compassion comes into play. But anyways, I'm going to end it here, but I just wanted to share with you this live stream where, I'm sharing my actual experience, how I was able to discover the perfect business or social venture for myself. And the way that I discovered it was to, learn from Charlie Munger, who said, don't interrupt the compounding. In other words, don't forget how you've been successful before, and leverage that success you've had in the past. Leverage that success. Don't try to start something entirely new and forget how you've been able to make money in the past. It would be foolish. It would be like selling off a stock when your stock that you picked was a very good stock. So stay with it. Whatever talents and strengths you've developed in the past, stay with it. If you've been a good investor, then start teaching investing. Don't try to create new web applications or create a novel. That's not your game. If you're into investing and you have a lot of knowledge about investing, start teaching investing. Start writing books and create video courses on investing. Don't go into fiction writing. Don't go into web applications. You don't know anything about it, right? So focus on where you've been successful and everything is going to be fine. AI is just an enabler. It's not a magic bullet. So use AI to help you to continue to succeed, to continue to make money the way that you've made money before. Make money faster, better, cheaper. Use AI to acquire more customers, but stay the course. And of course, I'm not saying that you should ignore the new opportunities that are available with these tools and platforms. Maybe you can spend 10% or 20% of your time exploring new opportunities, new business value that you can create. But 80% of your time, in my opinion, should be focused on leveraging the success that you've had so far. Don't forget the success you've been able to achieve in the past, especially success that you were able to achieve with pleasure and with joy. So in my case, for example, I was teaching the 5 college courses. I had a lot of fun teaching. It's just that I didn't like teaching in a classroom. I didn't like teaching according to a schedule. I didn't like teaching for 3 hours. I prefer to live stream just 60 minutes. That's enough. I didn't like to spend 1 hour to go to the college and 1 hour to get back. I didn't like teaching only to 20 or 25 students per semester or per course, because I was at one point I was giving 3 courses per semester. I want to serve 20 million people, students, not just 20 students, but 20 million students or more. Actually, I want to teach 40 million Canadians, which is a small number when you compare to the number of people in India and China. And so there are many things that I loved about teaching, helping people to grow. But these are the things that I didn't like, right? So My Fellow Canadians allows me to continue teaching, but in a way that I like. So for example, I'm going to be using Zoom. I'm going to create video courses. I'm going to, like at one point, I'm thinking of teaching a business workshop or a marketing workshop, etc., and have a translator who's going to translate for me in real time into Spanish, Italian, Mandarin, so the interpreter would translate everything that I'm saying into those languages, and people can follow. People who speak those languages can follow. They don't have to understand English. So that's one thing I want to do, My Fellow Canadians. But that's not My Fellow Canadians. That's more like for the Open Digital University, which I'm going to launch later on after we're successful with My Fellow Canadians, because the Open Digital University is for people all over the world. So we're talking about 8 billion people. Actually, it's not 8 billion people because only 2 billion have access to the internet. But anyways, I want to aim to serve 8 billion people. But I'm going to start with My Fellow Canadians first. This is where I resonate, where I feel a great deal of conviction. And so I want to encourage you to, go within and discover what you love to do and get AI to help you to do what you love to do. Don't use AI to do something just to make money. It's not going to work because you're going to abandon it after a few months or a few years. You will have wasted your time. So in conclusion, discover what you love to do that serves other people. So that's number one. What is it that you love to do that serves other people? Is it programming? Is it teaching? Is it coaching? And then, secondly, use AI to help you to do that, but faster, better, cheaper, etc. So AI is here to amplify, to augment, to accelerate, to automate, but AI cannot know you as well as you know yourself. It could help you, it could ask you a lot of questions, but ultimately you have to decide what is it that you love to do that serves other people. And once you have that answer, trust me, this is $1 million question and answer. Once you have that answer, it's going to be so much easier to use AI to help you to do that. But you have to figure out the answer to this question. What is it that you love to do that serves other people? And this is important. It's not just what is it that you love to do. You have to choose an activity that you love to do, but that serves other people, that serves them well enough so that they're willing to pay. So you can't just create a Facebook group or Facebook page or YouTube channel that serves people. It may serve them, but you don't really know whether it serves them until they're actually paying you. So if they pay you, then that's the proof positive that it serves them. So for example, on YouTube, you can have like 1 million subscribers, but that's not important. That's just a vanity metric, right? It sounds good, it feels good. You have 1 million people follow you, but not really. If you want to make money, like how many of those people, because on YouTube you can create a paid channel, how many of these people actually pay you, let's say $5 or $10 per month? So let's say out of 1 million subscribers, you have 200, which sounds like small, but it's still 200, right? So you're having passive income. Well, not really passive because you have to create a YouTube video, but you're having $2,000 a month, which is good. So that number 200 is more important than 1 million subscribers. So be careful not to succumb to your vanity. 1 million people, oh wow, that's great. No, it's not great. It's just that 200 is great because the 200 people, they're willing to pay you $10 a month. So those are really the people who are supporting you. I mean, you can still be of service to 1 million people, but they're not really serious. $10 per month, those are the serious people. And you can even go beyond that. You can offer more. Let's say you charge $50 a month, but a smaller group. So let's say only 50 people will do that, and at $50 a month you offer coaching, advice, etc. And so that's what is it? That's 2,500. So you have fewer people, but you're charging more. So make sure that the money that you're charging is reasonable, and when you have paid subscribers, that's the validation that you're actually serving people. You're serving them because they're willing to pay you. So number one, what is it that you love to do? And number two, how does it serve people? Like in my case, I love to teach. I love to live stream. As you can see, I never use any PowerPoint slides. I teach spontaneously because all the knowledge is in my head, right? So I love to teach, but I have to figure out like who will appreciate my courses, my teaching, my live streams enough to pay $30 a year. So not all 40 million Canadians will pay $30 a year. They might not be ready for that. So let's say I have 5,000 Canadians who are just starting out, right? So I just have 5,000 Canadians who are paying $30 per year. So how much is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 150,000 per year, which is not bad. It's not bad at all, given the fact that I'm not working. I'm just having fun. I'm just doing something that I love to do, live streaming, teaching, advising people, and I'm making a 6-figure salary, which is not bad at all. But you know, we're just starting out. So 5,000 out of 40 million, it sounds very credible, especially because I'm going to be recruiting affiliates. So you know, 5,000. So basically, I'm in net profit. I'm just making $20 because I have to pay $10 to the affiliates. So it's more like net profit, net. I'm just going to be making times 20. So I'm only going to be making 100K. Boo hoo hoo. You know, don't feel too bad for me. It's still 100K, and my affiliates are in total. The affiliates will be earning. So that's $10. So I'm going to be paying out, what is it? Yeah, that's $50,000 in affiliate payout. So that's for all the affiliates. But, you know, because I have this affiliate marketing program, I don't have to go out there and find members for my fellow Canadians. I know that the affiliates will be incentivized to go out there. And my affiliates, they have Canadian Facebook friends. They have Canadian LinkedIn connections. So it's not going to be hard for them to send a message to their connections and their friends to check out my fellow Canadians. So I don't have to focus on the marketing. And so you can see that making money with AI, you know, the best way to make money with AI is not hard. It's just that you have to answer the questions, you know, about you, about what makes you unique. You have to understand yourself. You cannot just ignore yourself and your preferences and your talent and just go with the gurus out there who teach you how to use AI automation or how to create web applications with Base44, Replit, Cursor. You know, don't ignore yourself. I find it shocking that, hold on. I find it really shocking, like even scandalous, that there are people like Jensen Huang. I know he has good intentions, but Jensen Huang is the CEO of NVIDIA, as you know. And I don't know if it's accurate, so I want to be fair to him, but I saw that he was offering the advice to young people to become electricians or plumbers. And I find it's crazy. You know, like, if it's not your passion, if you're not passionate about electricity or becoming an electric technician, and if you're not passionate about plumbing, you shouldn't go into those vocations. This is crazy. Like, this is a guy who's super smart. He has a global audience because NVIDIA is the most valuable company in the world, and he's giving that kind of career advice, which is crazy. I would rather advise people, you know, figure out what you love to do, and for that, you know, look back and see where you've had fun and made money. So naked, I don't know why. I mentioned fun and it recommended naked. Anyways, where you've had fun and where you made money, not just where you had fun, like on a spring break or whatever. Where did you have fun and where did you make money? Okay, look back and then, you know, build a business from that. For crying out loud, don't become an electrician or a plumber. You know, it's crazy. That's not your passion. It might be where the money is, but again, the money, there's always going to be money for people who have passion and a sense of purpose. Okay, so electricians and plumbers, yeah, that's where the money is, but don't forget your heart, your passion, what you really want to do in life. That's what you should focus on. So can you see that even a super smart person like Jensen Huang, in my opinion, it's misleading. So can you imagine all the YouTubers out there, all the people in their early 20s, they're providing tons of advice about AI and automation, but they don't have the wisdom of somebody like Charlie Munger. And what Charlie Munger says is that don't sell yourself short. Figure out what makes you unique. Figure out how you've been able to make money before, and continue to do that. Don't, what is it that he says? Don't interrupt the compounding. Don't stop doing something that has been successful for you, that has made money for you, and then try to chase the rainbow, or, because of the fear of missing out, FOMO, because of the fear of missing out on AI tools and platforms, you're abandoning what makes you unique. Because when you abandon what makes you unique, you've lost your soul. You might be making a lot of money with AI automation, but you're not going to be your true self. So what you want to do is you want to stay loyal to yourself, and then you want to use AI to make money on top of that. You want to use AI to amplify the impact that you're going to have in the world, because you stay true to yourself, because you know what makes you unique, and you stick to it. You're not, distracted by other people or even by successful YouTubers. You stay loyal to yourself, and you stay the course, and you let time do its work. So anyways, guys, that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you were able to benefit from it. But remember, nobody can replace you. People can replace the professional that you are in a job. Let's say you're an accountant, you're a manager. They can replace that aspect of you, but they cannot replace who you truly are. And it may take some work to discover who you truly are, but once you discover that unique aspect of you, nobody can take it away. Like, for example, I very much doubt that somebody can create a website or a membership site like My Fellow Canadians, because the person, this competitor, would have to be a good teacher like me. He or she would have to be a patriot. He or she would have to enjoy live streaming. He or she would have to know about digital marketing, about affiliate marketing. I mean, I have all those skills in my little person, right? So it would be extremely hard for somebody to create My Fellow Canadians. And I'm not even sure they want to create a membership site that competes with me, because $30 a year, they're not going to make a lot of money. They would have to go all out, and I'm willing to go all out. But I very much doubt that my fictitious competitors, I very much doubt that they'd be willing to go all out, because they haven't had the life that I've had. They haven't had the career that I've had. So they don't have the momentum. I have the momentum. I'm really 100% ready to launch My Fellow Canadians and serve 40 million Canadians. I'm really, really obsessed about it. And so I don't see any competition. And here we are learning something from Peter Thiel. And one of the great things that he taught me, and a lot of people, he says, no, actually the New York Times quoted him, and they quoted him as saying, competition is for losers, and what Peter wants is for you to become a monopoly. You have to be the only player who's offering the value that you're offering. A monopoly like Google or Meta or, I don't know, YouTube, or Nvidia, that kind of monopoly. So what Peter Thiel says is that you've got to create a business that is so unique that you don't have competition. Because if you have competition, then you're going to have to work hard. And therefore, competition is for losers. You're going to have to work hard against your competitors. You're going to have to lower prices, and ultimately all the competitors will lose because they're competing against each other, right? But if you're a monopoly, you can charge whatever you want to charge. People have no choice. You're the only player in town. And so that's what I learned from another billionaire, Peter Thiel. And that's what, I aim to do for My Fellow Canadians. It has to be a monopoly. There cannot be another membership site that is going to compete with us. We're going to be so unique. Our prices are going to be so low. The quality of our products are going to be so high that we're going to be a true monopoly. So anyways, guys, just wanted to share with you my journey. Hopefully it's going to help you with yours. And as usual, please ask all your questions in the comments below. I'm always happy to help. And I'll talk to you more in the